People, Deluded, I'm back again. Good evening, and I hope you're all doing well and safe, whoever you are, wherever you are. Moving forward, there's a couple of points I've come across on the internet. I've done a couple of videos today. I thought, you know what, got nothing else to do. I'm stuck in my house day in, day out, AM to PM, with the hour for exercise or to go to Sainsbury's, so we might as well crack on. The first one I'd like to speak about is Jesse Lingard. Now, according to The Athletic, obviously when you hear Jesse Lingard to Arsenal, you, me and everyone be inclined to believe it's nonsense. But according to The Athletics, there's a chance it could happen. And the article kind of went on to say it does vaguely depend on what happens with Ceballos. And in recent days, really, with all the transfer news, everybody's incoming depends on Danny Ceballos. Now, for Jesse Lingard, there's obvious reasons to link him to Arsenal. First being, he's English. He's danced at the Emirates before. Does he want to dance here full time? On a serious note, he's English. Obviously, that's a massive factor with, of course, he's not a young player anymore. He still behaves like one, but, you know, we've got a lot of English players. So, in theory, he knows the club, he knows the league, and all that other sort of rhetoric. If you look at his agent, forgive me if I'm wrong, he recently changed agents and is now represented by Mino Raiola, the same agent as his former teammate and current Arsenal player, but on loan, Mkhitaryan. Now, you've got to ask yourself generally, why did he change agents? Is it because he wants a bigger deal? We all know in recent months, he was always someone you're looking at United. If he wasn't English, if he wasn't Jesse Lingard from the academy, would his place be under scrutiny? For he's underperformed a lot, and it's come to sequence now. But prior, he might have made that change to get a better deal at United, or he might have made that change because he needs to leave United, and he wants the best move possible. And one thing you can say about Mino Raiola, he gets good deals for his clients as well as himself. Also, a bit of that is probably because of his age. He's got a big contract left in him at 27, regardless of his form and whatnot. Maybe he's employed Mino to do that, people. So again, there's little links. For me, Jesse Lingard to Arsenal makes no sense. I have great sympathy for the battles he's had in his personal life. I do think at times he's unnecessarily scrutinised. I do think he is very immature. Without knowing him, obviously, I think he's very immature. You can see how he rubs people up the wrong way. And he is somewhat symbolises Man United since Ferguson left. With all due respect, Man United fans, is mediocre. He shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be there. He's probably more serious than he's portrayed and stuff. But he is, in the same way I've said that about some Arsenal players, he simplifies how mediocre Manchester United are. Because if he wasn't English, if he wasn't Jesse Lingard coming from Manchester United's academy, wasn't a player that Sir Alex Ferguson said, yo, in a few years he'll be one, his career would have been gone long time. He's 27. You know, you don't know what you're going to get from Jesse. You know, goals and assists. He's made 35 appearances and I think he's got 2 goals. So goals and assists, something Arsenal immediately need in that creative role. It's not going to happen with Jesse. You know, he doesn't get goals, he doesn't get assists. His metrics in the final third isn't that great beyond goals and assists in terms of final ball and things. So you can't really see it. He's at the age now, he's 27. He's got a big contract left. He needs to go to a team where he can get his career back on track. Sure, he wants to play for England still. Sure, he wants to just simply be a professional footballer, play in, week out, and week in, week out. Is that going to happen at another top 6 club? You already face a lot of scrutiny at Manchester United. Would it make sense to come to Arsenal, where a lot of players are scrutinised and a lot of players specifically in your position are going to be scrutinised? Because, you know, Lingard is one of them players. He's not going to instantly be a hit. I don't really think fans would care about the Man United ties, but I've got to mention that it's just he's got to get his career back on track. And I look at you, I don't see many goals and assists. I can very much see how you could become a source of frustration. And, you know, at times, not always by fans, you faced a lot of scrutiny at Man United. I can see a lot of it happening at Arsenal, rightly or wrongly, similar themes or not. So would it make sense to go to another team outside of this where you can feel important again and somewhat escape some of that? Because if you're not at a top team, maybe people have the same question marks, but they might look at you differently. One thing I'll give him though, he has got decent movement and he does press quite well. Sadly, that's not enough. Now, I look at him, he's 27, he's going to probably want to be on 100 something a week. If you're him, you're looking for a 5-year deal at least to tie you to 32 years of age. Yes, he's English. Yes, he could be okay for the squad, I guess. It doesn't make sense, people, to add that sort of, it might not be the biggest wages, but it still be a waste of money. And also, you know, you'd imagine Arsenal's not the sort of place, I want too many players that want to come here and get their career on track and things like that. It's not that sort of thing, people. So it won't happen, people. It would, beyond the fact that he's out of contract or his contract's running down, beyond the fact that not out of contract, but his contract's not got long to long. He's a one-away player. He could be a cheap option. It doesn't make sense. And you look at if Lingard was to join our team tomorrow, for me anyways, as an outsider, he drops too deep for that creative role anyways, which too many men already in this team do. He either play him on the flanks or you play him in the cam role. And on the flanks, I don't really have much faith in him. He'd probably get more game time in the 10 position because I actually think he presses well. That's the one thing I'd give him. He presses well off the ball. But, if he was to just sum up our creative options right now, assuming Lingard came, you'd have Jesse Lingard, you'd have Henrik Mkhitaryan, you'd have Mesut Ozil, you'd have Joe Willock, and you'd have Emil Smith-Rowe. Now, again, you're looking at Mkhitaryan and Ozil's contracts. Potentially one leaves now, one's allowed to run down their deal. Joe Willock, I don't think that's his role per se. I think he's better in the pivot, but he's still developing. Emil's still developing and has gone on loan, so I don't know if Arteta believes he's worth it. And to add Lingard into that doesn't make much sense. If we're going to play Lingard, I'd rather persist with the Joe Willock stuff, to be fair, or the Emil Smith-Rowe, whether I think a player is better or not. I actually want Jesse Lingard to get his career back on track. It's not nice to see someone not playing. It's not nice to see someone who you'd probably describe as being full of life. Clearly he's fearful to really express himself. But yeah, man, United and Arsenal, we can't really afford to hold people's hands and have too many of these players that need it. And at 27 years of age, you find yourself with Jesse Lingard saying the same things you would be about an 18, 19-year-old player. He's had a fantastic career in the sense that he's played for Man United, he's played for his country, and he's earned a lot of finances. But he's done everything I would like to do. It's just mediocre, man. And maybe I guess you couldn't rule out playing overseas, really, especially with the change of agent. So we'll see what happens in Lingard's case. But it's probably nonsense, people. Moving away from that, and courtesy of the Twitter account SoccerLink, a lot of reports are emerging again of the same rumour of Lacazette to Atletico Madrid, a team that was allegedly in for him before he made the move. You can see Atletico, they clearly need some strikers and things. One does wonder how much Lacazette can thrive in Atletico's system and with how they like to press. But if he wants to go, he wants to go. If they give us 40, 50 million and kind of break even, I'm all for it as much as I like Lacazette. But apparently that move is progressing fairly well. Apparently Arsenal are looking for his replacement. And we know a lot of the striker links have been a lot of the emerging sort of guys that have scope to develop, the Baidus, the Odegaard, I can't say his name, but Celtic, the Dembeles, people of this sort of nature, people. And a lot of it's been linked to a potential replacement for Aubameyang because his contract's up next summer and Lacaz's got 2 to run. But I mean, if Lacazette goes, it is what it is. I'd rather keep Aubameyang. I know Lacazette's older, but I just think Aubameyang can keep scoring goals until the end of his 30s. If we can pattern up the team in all areas, we have a decent chance. And if not, do you think if Lacazette left, is Aubameyang good enough to lead this line alone by himself? You'd say yes. As good as Lacazette is, and we need to remember he's our player of the season last year, you can't win a league title with Lacazette because he can't get 20 league goals. It is what it is. He's not a great goal scorer. He scores a fairly respectable amount of goals, but goal scoring isn't necessarily a strength of his, or it isn't of the level to lead a top 6, top 4 side, clearly. I'd wish him all the best if he went to Atletico. I suppose he wants Champions League football. Atletico, you'd imagine, are a more competitive side, so there's more chance of trophies to some degree. We'll see what happens, but I'm not going to read too much into that because that seems to be one that doesn't leave us alone. The same report is saying allegedly Arsenal want Coutinho, but his agent, who is an Arsenal fan, his preference is to place him at Chelsea. So we'll see what happens in that regard with Coutinho. Ryan Fraser links, according to Team Talk, Arsenal believe they are leading the chase for Ryan Fraser and are confident of securing his signature when his contract expires at the end of the season. Arsenal don't have a huge transfer fund and Fraser fits the bill being a free agent. Another target is Willian, and Arsenal are set to offer him a 2-year deal to remain in London but face stiff competition from Spurs, who also are managed by his former manager Jose Mourinho. Now I wouldn't mind Ryan Fraser in the side. Again, emphasis on squad. I don't mind him for the squad. I think he'd be okay in the squad. Cup matches, Europa, rotation when games are coming thick and fast. Now, on the other hand, again, if we don't have a huge transfer budget, so it throws this out of the window. But I'd rather just allow just give time to the wide options we already have, or if a scout has got really good glowing reports on a certain sort of other profile, I'd go for that, because I think Ryan Fraser is a decent player, but he doesn't stand out that he can necessarily improve this team. I think he would hit the ground running. But you look at his numbers, they're hugely inflated by what was a great season last year. Doesn't get too many goals and assists. He works hard and things, and he would complement the side well. But it's what's the point sort of thing, really. If he comes, again, he's a decent player, but it's just a bit forcing it, in my opinion. I'd rather scouts do their job and go and find us a 18, mid-20-year-old, low-profile guy who is better than Fraser or has got scope to do that. It's a free transfer, so we can't complain. And Fraser, you've seen he's been linked with a couple of clubs, and he did kind of say it got to his head, people. So you can't really fault him. You couldn't fault him for that anyways. And like I said, I'd more be on Ryan Fraser than Jesse Lingard, to be fair with you, people. But that's just me personally. It is what it is in that regards. Finally, Andre Santos, I think I've seen these comments before, but he at some point has been speaking about Arsenal, and he said, "I've always had a dream of playing in the Champions League. That opportunity came to my feet when I was at Fenerbahce, but after what happened, our place in the competition was in danger. In the meantime, Arsene Wenger called me and said he has been following me since my days at Corinthians and the national team. After that, I made up my mind and decided to join Arsenal with a heavy heart. I thought this would be a perfect experience for me. Playing in the biggest league in football and one of the best teams in England isn't always possible for a footballer. So I decided to take that chance. So sure you scored against Chelsea, so thank you for that contribution, but you were never my cup of tea." He said, "First season went very well. I played in a lot of matches, but in my second season, I had very bad luck with injuries. I haven't had many injuries in other teams. I had 3 injuries which kept me out of action for quite a long time. After that, the club decided to sign Nacho Monreal. I wanted to return to Fenerbahce, but Arsene Wenger refused to let me join." So make of that what you will, people. I don't have anything else to add, people, so I'd love to hear your opinions on Ryan Fraser and Jesse Lingard, especially if you've got any. Check out my other vids, people. There isn't much more I've got to add, so I'm going to get out of here. People, stay safe, stay at home. DG, I'm out.